All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Hi, and thank you so much for joining our first SchemaHero meeting of 2022. We are very excited that you're here. My name is Treva. I am the Dev Avocado for Replicated, and I am joined by the SchemaHero team. And we are thrilled to talk about what we have planned for 2022. I guess maybe I don't want to spoil it all yet. So I'm going to hand it over to Mark. Mark, is there anything that you would like to cover that we haven't talked about over the holiday season? Or
I think I'll add it to the agenda. Do you want me to add it? We want to dive in now, or do you want me to add it to the bottom of the agenda?
oh, add it to the top.
All right.
Yeah,
I have to sign into the HackMD here so I can actually edit. Great. So I think the biggest thing is that we've been working on a 0.13 pre-release right now, and I think we're getting relatively close. There was a longstanding issue around adding, it was an early issue in SchemaHero to be able to add seed data in so that you could populate tables with, like in dev environments with existing specific data. And that's in the alpha release, and we started rolling it out and using it. I replicated so far. There's still a handful of issues to resolve in it. We should get some tags on those Trevas with like good first issue or like help wanted. But like, we're hoping to have that, once we have that done, ship a 0.13 release. I think that was the big thing that we worked on in December was we finally got to the point where that's been an open issue for so long and we wanted it and we had some time and it unblocked a few things we wanted. So we prioritized it and added it in.
Nice. That's thrilling to hear. And I guess that kind of covers the thing that I wanted to cover, which was resurrecting the good first issue and help wanted tags. Sounds like that's going to be happening. So we can move on to the next one. I figured that we could make part of our community meetings reviewing any open bugs that the community could potentially dive into addressing. There's 3 on the list right now that I admittedly just barely glanced at. So I was hoping that maybe we could get like a general, like a short overview of each bug. And this is my offer to the community that if you would like to pick any of these up, ping me, ping Mark, ping us in the SchemaHero channel on Kubernetes, and we'll help you through it. So the first one was the install -YAML command is invalid. That one might be a little too heavy for a good first issue tag, but I mean,
we can talk through it for a second here. We have a minute. I don't think it's we've always supported the --YAML flag in order to generate YAML that you could then check into a repo for a GitOps deployment or some other methodology if you wanted to like version control of the operator YAML itself. We probably need a regression test on this too and understand how this broke. But recently, with later versions of SchemaHero, these generated YAML includes immutable fields that are normally returned by the API server, like available replicas, which actually means you can't control apply that YAML right back to a cluster because it says that that's a field that the API server is supposed to return to you. You're not supposed to give it. The expectation is that the SchemaHero installed --YAML should generate YAML that you can control apply, and any fields that are in there that aren't like valid to send to the API server, they shouldn't be there. It's a pretty, I wrote the story or this issue in GitHub, so like I should go add a little more context into here. It's a little bit light on details in GitHub. I will do that.
Sorry, I was muted. Okay, the next one is incorrect migration and MySQL running.
Yeah, I wrote this issue too, so I can explain it. Dimitri may hop in here too, because I think we spent a little bit of time chatting about it. This is like an issue that there was a few of these issues. I don't want to say a lot. There were definitely a handful that we resolved, and there's this one still remains. That there's an example table spec in the issue on 654, and if you deploy that table, it works. You get the exact table that you expect to get, but then when you deploy it again, it generates SchemaHero generates an alter table statement that's effectively a no-op. It tells it's going to modify a column back to the exact column type that it is with the exact char set. So it's like, for some reason, it thinks that migration needs to run, and it's a, it's a harmless migration to run, but like on a large database that has a lot of activity that's in production that you don't want to like lock schema and do certain things on, you don't want any non-required schema migrations to run.
Is there any specific field types, or in general, is it random, Mark, or is it?
It's always this one. If you take this one table spec that's here, and then you deploy the table, and Jaja, you'd probably recognize the table.
Yes,
it's like it's yeah. You'll see it in this happens in like replicated step environment all the time too, where that execute query alter table, the very top of the issue, it's generated every time and it runs and it's a successful migration, but that release notes column is already set to that character set type and that column type and that nullability. So I don't know, we have to dig into it to figure out why, but I don't know why which part of that column it's not properly reading from the information schema table.
Only the release notes. Okay.
Yeah. I think, Triva, you also had 625 in here too.
I did. I was reading through it. Yeah, MySQL, another issue with MySQL. Character set with no collation on a column produces no op migration. And go ahead.
It's the same kind of category. Sorry, I was reading through it to make sure I remember. It's the same category of problem as the last one, where I think we need some better example YAML in here to show how to reproduce it. But like, it's producing a migration that, is technically safe and not going to break the database. But like I think we should have a goal of the project that, if I deploy this table structure in any of the supported databases, MySQL, Postgres, Cassandra, whatever they are, if I deploy this table structure and then I attempt to deploy it again, it shouldn't produce any commands to run. Like otherwise, it could potentially, it could potentially cause problems. Like that has to be one of the. I propose anyway that should be one of the promises, one of the goals of the SchemaHero project is that, given a deployment, when we attempt to redeploy that, it won't generate any new changes. And these are all MySQL ones because we use MySQL that replicated, and we dug and we started really getting trying to like go through the 0.13 release and noticing these weren't. I don't think any of these were introduced in the 0.13 release, so they're out there in SchemaHero today. But like I just think that we should try to clean these up. That's why I created the issues to track them.
Okay, awesome. I mean, at bare minimum, they can be useful for starting discussions. And speaking of discussions, I will be sharing all of this in our Kubernetes Slack, which is going to be a pretty interesting spot this year. So keep an eye out for that. Those are all the bugs that I pulled so far, but this is going to be a running thing that happens at every community meeting. So if these are a little bit too heavy to tackle, just hang on a bit. We're going to be bringing back some easier issues. And of course, there's always like support available if you do decide to tackle something harder. But moving on to our next topic.
Or if you don't want to like tackle a bug and you want to like add some functionality, don't think we only are looking for bug fixes. Like anything on the project is welcome. So.
And that is absolutely right. Thank you. So I guess that leads into our next topic, open floor. This is when you can discuss anything having to do with the SchemaHero project or with replicated open source. Have at the floor. Go for it. I guess I'll start by welcoming Pavan. Hi, Pavan, and welcome to Replicated.
Oh, it's my first replicated meeting. Sorry, the SchemaHero meeting. Yeah, I was interested.
Cool. I hope you'll come to like all of the rest of them also. And I'll say again, I like your sweater.
Thank you.
Shiva, I'll here for the open floor. I'll add a link right here. So we've been in the sandbox for a year, and we've submitted our annual review to stay in the sandbox. We're not proposing that we're ready to go to the incubation phase right now. And in there's some really interesting stats that we were able to collect out of the CNCF dashboard around adoption and use and things like this. And I think there's like, if there's somebody who's interested in the project, there's some definite like themes through here on what we need to tackle this year. And while we have to continue to tackle bugs and features, like we're really looking for like use cases in adoption and like two particular things, some named adoption from organizations this year. Folks who are using this in production, we know that there are some folks. We want to actually get to the point where they're comfortable enough and willing to go, put their name in the repo in the adopters file and have documented use cases out there in production by end users. And then the second thing is, like the maintainers section of this annual review. We have a good list of really qualified maintainers, but every single one of them works at Replicated. And so we'd love to get like maintainers that aren't at Replicated on the project too.
Yes, very much. I was going to make a joke about being really annoying for the rest of the year, but I'm not going to do that. But we will be, or I will be, a lot more proactive about courting these things. I wasn't sure how to finish that sentence, so I'm just going to stop. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to have or like to discuss for open floor? Is there anything that you would like to see happen with the SchemaHero project and community, aside from what Mark already stated for 2022? Is there anything that you're looking for or that you'd like to see happen or that you're looking forward to that you're not looking forward to? Let's talk about it. I am looking forward to us finally moving out of the sandbox. I am very much looking forward to that. So I guess I'll start.
That's a great goal. I think, as we look through it too, I think that honestly it should be like moving out of the sandbox isn't obviously like the actual goal that we're going for, but like I think like that set, like the requirements to move out of the sandbox define like a path and help us like get like valuable goals to along the way. The bar to get out of the sandbox means we have adopters, we have extra maintainers, we have diversity in the project, we have like stability, we have proven like traction and like I like that summary, and that's a great way to describe it. And like in like breaking it down into all the stuff we have to do this year to get there. And it's a lot of work.
It is, but it's worth it. And it's very fulfilling. Okay, something silly I'm looking forward to. The SchemaHero logo. I am envisioning that somehow being turned into some type of dog toy. So it's a personal goal to make that happen, to have dog toys for SchemaHero as swag for this upcoming US KubeCon.
For the US one, not the one over in Valencia.
Deadline's a little bit too close.
Fair.
Does anyone else have anything? All right, I guess I'm going to give you the rest of your day back, begrudgingly. But thank you all so much for joining. This was actually very enjoyable. hopefully next meeting is going to be a little bit more organized than this, but I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and join us. And for those who are watching on YouTube or whatever live streaming platform this ends up on, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to catch up on SchemaHero as a project. We are looking forward to interacting with you this year, and we'll see you next month. Bye.